Hey Jeff,
Good morning.
how are you doing?
Sorry, I'm doing fine. I was just making sure you could share your screen.
Okay, it looks like I can. So we will get started in about 2 minutes. So glad everyone was able to join us today. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, thank you so much for coming to the TxDLA Presenter Orientation. This is being recorded, so you can always go back and rewatch or look at something if you need to. So I'm Rhonda Blackburn. I'm one of the co-chairs for the program committee, and I also have with me Jan Brott.
Hello.
And
How's everyone doing?
If I can find
Great.
Good.
So we're going to go ahead and get started with our orientation. Sorry, I was setting that mic. So Jan?
Yes. Well, welcome everyone. We appreciate you joining us. For today's meeting, our agenda is we're going to review the presenter checklist. That's Lisa sent that to you. It's a link to a document, and we're going to take a look at that and go over it. And we'll look at the roles involved in this process. There are actually 3 roles, a team involved in doing the presentations and getting them out on Zoom. Then Rhonda is going to talk to you about Zoom and some tools that are available to make your presentation more engaging. And then we'll wrap it up with any questions. You can always also put your questions in the chat. I will be checking that periodically. So let's check out the checklist.
Of course, now I need to move that over here.
All righty. It's a little tiny. Can you make it bigger?
Yes, I
Thank you.
can. Maybe.
That's okay. I think I can see it. I can see it well enough. And
There it is.
they have a copy of it.
Yep.
Oh,
Better?
yay! Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay. So this should look familiar to y'all. If you don't have it, it got buried in your email somewhere, please let us know. We'll make sure that you get it again, so that you, because this is a really important document to have during your session, even because there's links to information. There's also oh, thank you, Rhonda, for putting the link in there. That's a good idea. So let's go over this just real quickly, because y'all all have a copy of it. First, before the session, we recommend that you download the Zoom desktop client. This will, if you don't have the client, you can access the other options. So there's the link to show you how to do that or to actually download it. Also, ensure you have a stable, strong internet connection during the presentation. Oh, and prepare a very interactive presentation. Rhonda's going to talk to you a little bit more about this later, about how you can use Zoom to do that. But we do encourage you to create interactive presentations, whether through a poll or a survey. And of course, you know, you have the chat available to provide interaction as well. Be prepared to show your camera. It really makes a difference in engaging your audience if they can see you on camera. So please be prepared to do that. And use dynamic graphics and video clips and musics, different backgrounds. Again, y'all can see I have the blur background for mine, but you know, use ones. I noticed somebody was representing their school, so that, you know, that's great too. Also, please submit your slide deck and handouts to TxDLA so that we can get those out to your participants. And if you do use polls, please email them in advance to Jeff Hampton. So he's going to be the host. So he will make sure that that gets set up in your breakout session room. And sorry, oh, slow down. My old eyes. Okay, we're in that next section is what we're doing right now. There was one yesterday and there's one today. So the next section is Zoom. So Rhonda will talk to you more about all of that in a minute. So now we're going to go back and take a look at the roles. Okay, first of all, we have y'all, the presenter. And so your role is to communicate with the tech person. We'll talk more about that in a minute, about any technology questions or issues that you have. Communicate with your moderator about how you want to be introduced. And also we recommend that you meet with your moderator to practice beforehand. And also please relay any special instructions like the polls or the surveys I mentioned, and you know, see the presenter checklist for that. The next role we have is the moderator. The moderator is the person who is going to welcome the participants and introduce you. They'll also remind participants that the session is being recorded and any protocol for chats, because your moderator is your chat person. They will help you, and y'all. So it's a good idea for you to get together with them so you can kind of coordinate that in advance, how you're going to do that. There are sponsors for a lot of the sessions. So the moderator will be introducing the sponsor, and the sponsor will have about a minute that they have to talk about their product or service. And then the moderator will introduce you as the presenter. Finally, they will also wrap it up, the session, after you're finished, and direct you to the next event. And then we have the tech role, and that is your point of contact for all the tech questions and issues. You saw the contacts information on the presenter checklist, and that again, the tech is the host. They were the ones that create the session, so they will be giving the moderator and you co-host privileges. So get to know your tech as well. So those are all of the roles. Do we have any questions about any of the roles before we move forward? I'm not seeing any in the chat.
No.
None. Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. And next we'll go back to Rhonda, and she's going to tell you a little more about Zoom.
Yeah, so we're going to do a Zoom overview, looking at the different features within it. And then also, as we're going through that, we can talk about best practices. And obviously, if there's something that we hit on and you have done something really cool, we'd love you to share that with everyone else, because we all can learn from each other on different ways as we go through using Zoom a lot, or whatever platform you're in. So So the Zoom orientation, the first thing is that at the bottom, we have the your toolbar. You should see it at the bottom of yours right now. It doesn't have all the options because you're not co-host, but when you become co-host, you'll get a lot more options. So we're going to kind of go through each one of these just to make sure that you know what they're there for. So the first one, a lot of times when you come in to Zoom or any platform, you may not be able to hear someone or they won't be able to hear you. The very first thing that I would do is click on the arrow next to mute, and you have an option of looking at what mic you're using on your computer, what speaker you're using. Many times, especially if you're jumping from one platform to another, the other platform may hold on to that speaker or that mic, and so you make sure that you actually close that out completely, so that way it'll release it, and then here you can go and see what you're using, and to make sure that again, that's always my first thing. If something's happening, I'm like, okay, do I have the right mic on, or, all that good stuff. And there's many times that I do, but then I look at my headset and it's turned off. So you also want to look at that too, if you have an off on switch on your headset. The next one is your video. So as Jan said, one of the things that we highly suggest as a presenter is that you show your video. It just makes it a little bit more interactive for the people that are there, even if they're not showing their video, even though we'd like for them to do that as well. But again, you can always click on that up arrow to look at what camera are you using. So right now I'm on my laptop, but I also have an external camera that actually works a little better than my laptop camera. And so when we were on the orientation yesterday, I was wondering why that camera wasn't coming on and wasn't showing up. And it was because I didn't actually have it plugged in. And so, make sure that if you're using an external one, that it's also plugged in. But you can come here. If there's more than one, it'll show up and you can pick the one you want. And hopefully that will resolve any camera issues you have. But the other thing you can do, as Jan was talking about, was changing your background. So you're having a virtual background. She has hers blurred. You can do that. But so you would go right here and click on blur. But in your presenter checklist, one of the things that Lisa did was add in links to two different background images for the TxDLA conference. So you can download this. There's one that is right side and there's one that's reversed. It depends on what you're doing. If you are wanting to have your mirror my video, then you want the reverse one. If you turn that off, then you want the other one. So it depends on which one you have on. So if you realize something is backwards, you may want to come in here and also look and make sure that you are showing your video correctly. The other thing is that you can also tell if you have a green screen. So if you do not have a green screen, then you definitely do not want this checked, because if you do, it makes many times you the green screen. So it looks really funky. So you just want to kind of play around with this. You can always, if you have never been in Zoom or you don't have your own Zoom, you can download Zoom. As Jan was saying, you can download the client and you can have a free account. And so you can go in there and play with them, play with your virtual backgrounds and stuff like that.
Rhonda, we have a few chat questions. Okay, first of all, I'm sure people are noticing that we have captions, which is really awesome. So the question from Spencer Galvan is, will the closed captions be applied automatically?
Yes.
Okay. Jessica mentions that she had to select it and it started captioning for me. So apparently there's a setting or something that needs to be done.
Makes the speakers seem as though they're cursing. That's great.
And also Spencer added, I just need to make sure it doesn't get used for my presentation. It is not Spanish compatible. Do we know that to be, it's not Spanish compatible?
Yeah. So one of the things, and that may be something that if I knew Spanish better, I could test
Okay.
it out.
Okay, we can get back to you on
but-
that, Spencer. I mean, you actually, you may be telling us you've already checked it out. I don't know. But we'll follow up with you. A couple of more things I just wanted real quick, since we're over here on the chat.
Yeah.
Should presenters have screenshots like yours, menu bar, audio, video in our presentation in case we have attendees who don't use Zoom? That's an interesting question. If somebody doesn't know how to use Zoom, do we need to
Oh.
instruct them? What kind of what kind of overview? That's a good question. What kind of overview do we need to give the participants?
That's actually a good idea. Jan and I will go back with Lisa and the conference team, and maybe we can send some screenshots to y'all if you want to include it in your presentation. The other thing I know that we are looking at doing is maybe doing really quick videos that people can click on and go through as well. Zoom actually has some great videos that we could probably even just link to for people that aren't used to Zoom, especially participants. So we can do that.
Okay. And just a couple more so we can catch up with the chat before we go to the next section. Keisha Burnett asks, I do not have a background feature on my laptop. Is there a way that I can get one, or am I missing something?
So when you talk about background feature, is it the actual image that you want to upload into? So one of the things here, there is a plus sign that you can add. So the images that Lisa put into the presenter orientation checklist, those is that's what I downloaded, and then I just use this plus sign to add them. If you are having issues inside Zoom when you click on background and virtual backgrounds, it could be that are you on the client download Zoom, or are you in the browser Zoom? There are different features. You don't get the full set of features if you're just in the browser.
And finally, Jessica Sanchez, thank you for pointing out that the learning how or teaching the participants how to use Zoom or an overview is actually a housekeeping item. And so the moderators will be taking care of that. So you don't need to have screenshots or anything like that. The moderator will take care of doing a brief overview. Isn't that right, Rhonda? Yeah, we had that last year.
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, I think we are caught up with the chat. If you'd like to go on.
It looks like Spencer may need to
yeah, we'll talk to
work
him
with us on the Spanish stuff. So.
Thank you for the questions, y'all.
Yeah, no, this is great.
It is. This is the kind of presentation we like.
Interactive. And so the next set of parts within your toolbar is going to be participants, the next one. Participant, obviously you can open that up, see who's in there. I like to keep that open sometimes to be able to see if someone has raised their hand or something, or even if I could see if someone's mic's on, sometimes it's easier to see there because it'll show that it's on. And so I like to open up the participants area. The next one is polls. Again, if you want to use the polls inside of Zoom, make sure you send your questions to Jeff. He will make sure it goes right into your meeting. And so that way they'll be available to you. Once they're in there, as the presenter, all you have to do is click on polls. It'll show you the questions, and that's when you just click on the one to show people for them to take the poll. Chat is the next one. We've been kind of working with chat a lot right now, so it looks like y'all are really good at that, but I like to open that up too as I'm presenting, so that way I can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. But like Jan said, one of the moderator responsibilities is to keep an eye on chat for you as well, especially if you don't have a co-presenter. If it's just you, sometimes it's nice to have someone kind of keeping an eye on that, so you don't get distracted. I don't know about you. I get distracted every once in a while and totally lose my train of thought. So,
well, also I wanted to point out, you have to get out of that. You have to quit sharing your screen if you see the chat yourself. So actually, I'm acting in the role of moderator for Rhonda now, because she can't see the chat like I can, because she's in presenter mode. So if you don't have a second monitor so you can actually see the chat, that makes the moderator role even more important for you. So just remember that as well.
definitely. Well, and today it's interesting. So I have extra monitors and I'm actually using my other monitor. So it makes it nice. If you do have more than one monitor, you can have your presentation showing on one monitor. And that way you can see everyone and also see the chat and things like that. So it just makes it a little, but not everyone has that. So yes, Jan is right. If you don't, sometimes opening up, you can open up chat, but then it's over your presentation and it gets kind of funky. So having that moderator makes it nice. Thank you, Jan, for that. And then the next one is share screen. So that's what I'm doing now. When you click on share screen, you'll see that you can share a particular screen. So this one only shows that I only have one screen, but if I would have taken an image of this, when I actually had all three of my screens up, it would actually show screen 1, screen 2, screen 3. So you could pick which one you want. You can also pick a particular application. Be careful with that, because remember earlier when Jan was like, click on that checklist, and I clicked on it, it opened a different application. And that then I would have to stop sharing and reshare. And so I personally like to share a screen. It makes it easier for me, so I'm not going back and forth. But you have that option. Another couple of things that are really important. If you're going to use video or any audio, before you start sharing, click right here where it says share sound, so your presenters can actually hear what is coming through that video or audio. The other part is, if you are sharing a video, clicking on optimize for video clip is also really important, because that way, I don't know if you've ever seen someone share a video and it's not in sync, like you're hearing it after it's said and stuff like that. It's kind of weird. So that way, if you click on that, Zoom has done a little better job on kind of syncing all that up and keeping it synced. But once you check those boxes that you need and what you want to share, you click on share, and then it automatically shares your screen. When you're done, I don't have an image of this, but when you're done sharing, at the very top of your screen, you should have an area that says stop sharing. And so that way you can do that. Anything coming through, Jan, that I need to?
I was just, yeah, we're talking about the practicing. Pamela says, you mentioned practicing with a moderator and or tech person. How do we arrange this? Is this done on the day of presentation? And I mentioned that they're going to get an email with the contact information, and also the moderator and tech will have their contact information. So just coordinate with them beforehand. She asked before the day of the presentation or the day of the presentation. And, I'd say either one, if you can get in, if you can, I think, Rhonda, you mentioned getting a free account already, right?
Yeah.
So that you can, because you can even do that, practice, in your free account outside of the, the one that's set up for the conference, and invite them to a session that you create. So I'd say it'd be good if you could do it the day before the presentation, but because a lot of the moderators are going to be busy with moderating other sessions, but definitely, I don't know, how early can they get in if they can't get together before then? 10 minutes?
Yeah, so we suggest that you join your session 5 to 10 minutes early. That at least gets you in there. Make sure that you can share your screen if you need to and all of that.
Yeah.
But if you want to actually practice, yes, I would. We're having a moderator orientation a week before the conference actually starts, so we can, it just because it gets us closer to the conference, so people don't forget. Um, so that way the moderator knows what they need to do. But I think as soon as Lisa sends out that email that kind of introduces everyone, right? You can meet with them. And I would highly suggest, even if you're just meeting through or talking through email to kind of get things settled, like Jan was saying, how do you want them? Do you want them to introduce you? How do you want them to introduce you? Things like that, I think is very valuable.
Very good. Thank you. And Lisa is coordinating in the chat box more information of what she needs. So
Yes, definitely.
I think we're
And
good.
I think Marcia also asked about the sound in an embedded video PowerPoint. Same thing.
Yes.
When you share your screen, if you say share, what was that?
Yes.
Share computer. Yeah, share of sound. If you click right here on share
Yes.
sound, it doesn't matter where the sound is coming from, it should share it.
Right.
So it could be a PowerPoint.
I learned the hard way, just so y'all know. It's easy to miss.
And the thing is that if you forget to do it, just stop sharing, say, whoops, I forgot to do this, and then reshare and click on share sound. Everyone in the room is going to understand, because we've all done it at least once. So the other two things, and these are the things to make it a little bit more interactive, that you could use, are breakout rooms and reactions. And so on breakout rooms, if you click on that, you have several options. You can decide how many breakout rooms you want. When you open your participant area, it will tell you how many people are in your room. And so if you want 2 people together or 3, just take that number and divide it and make that number of rooms. And you can assign automatically, you can assign manually, you can also let them choose. This is only a 45-minute presentation. So one of the suggestions I would say is just make it automatic. So that way you're not taking time out of those 45 minutes to place people into rooms. If someone comes in after you've started the breakout room, you can add them to a breakout room. And so or you can sit there and talk to them. But when it does that automatically, it will send everyone to the breakout rooms. Except I know not the host. I don't think it sends the co-host either, which is what you should be when you come into the room. So just know that, to me, that makes it a little easier, especially when a small time frame. But this makes it a great way to get people to reflect, to get people to talk. It's almost like in the presentation when you say, turn to your neighbor. You could say, I'm going to send you to breakout rooms, and you'll have 2 minutes. And one of the things that you'll be able to do once you choose assign automatically and create, what it'll do is it'll give you a way to set a time with it as well. And so that way it'll automatically, after 2 minutes, bring everyone back to your room, or however long you set it. So great way to get small group interaction and get them to talk about something that you want to talk about. The other one is reactions. So here people can raise their hand. They can give you a thumbs up. They can laugh a lot, so hard they're crying. But they could, so there's different reactions. And one of the things you can do is, you could tell people, hey, go into your reaction and tell me how you feel. Are you, loving what we're talking about? Are you in wow? Are you laughing out, so crazy that you're crying? Are you celebrating? So you can use those reactions, or you can just say, hey, okay, we just went over this. Yes, thank you, Jessica, with the reaction. So when you're doing this, you can say, hey, go to your reaction, and I want you to let me know if you understood what I was talking about. Give me a thumbs up. Or use your reactions as we go, so that way I know you're there. And so it just gives a nice way to be able to interact without them interrupting you while you're going through things, but definitely have them open their mic and talk to you, and hopefully open their video as well, so that way you can see. So one of the other areas is at the very top right-hand corner. Once you have at least 2 people in the room, you're going to see a thing called View. This allows you to decide how you want to see your screen. There's the speaker view that allows you to get the big picture of the speaker. Gallery view is what I'm in now, so I can actually see everyone who's in this room until we run out of spaces, and then it shows me that there's additional pages. It makes it really, I like this view because it allows me to see who's here, if there are any reactions, if anyone is raising their hand. Again, if you have multiple monitors, it makes it really nice because you can keep everyone in gallery view on your screen. Thank you, Kate. And you can also then see what you're presenting. And that way you can kind of have this nice conversation as people are talking. Yay, Linda. I love when people come on video, but it gives you a chance to then talk to people but while they're still with their monitor, and realizing that because you are in share screen mode, they may only see some of, definitely put them in gallery view so that way you can see as many people as possible. So, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned that if you didn't know how to change that. The other thing is also full screen, and I don't remember what it says when you're not in full screen, but that allows you to, especially when someone starts sharing, it automatically goes to full screen. And so if you want to get to your toolbar at the bottom, you'll have to exit full screen, and you could still expand your browser so it fills your entire screen, but you'll still be able to see your toolbar. And that's really nice, especially if someone, or if you or someone is doing a presentation and they were like, hey, I want you to go to your browser and go here because we're going to talk about this, and that way you can get to it easily without having to totally minimize everything. So any questions on any of that with Zoom? If you don't use it a lot, just kind of, hopefully that orientation was helpful. If you do use it, maybe you learned something that wasn't there before. I don't know.
I also want to mention, y'all can unmute if you want to, like, instead of using the chat, if you want to actually ask a question, please, unmute your microphone and feel free to ask those questions, because you can do that. That's something you can do in your session too, as well, if you'd like to include audio interactions. So anyone have a question they want to ask in their microphone?
In case I knew.
I don't see any questions in the chat.
Yeah, no,
did we do that good a job, Rhonda?
I don't know.
Well, they know they've got the information coming, and they can certainly contact us or lease us for more information.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, thank you, Alex.
Yeah, so
and Jessica.
I think that any questions that you do have, definitely reach out to us, Jan or I or Lisa. Anyone that you see right here, there's telephone numbers, but you get emails all the time from Lisa, I'm sure, so you can always reach out to her. There's very few questions that she cannot answer, but if you definitely want to practice with this and try to figure out some different ways to engage, maybe you just want to go through your presentation really quick, maybe not everything, but kind of go through and say, okay, here, what can I do? If you're even if you're not with your moderator yet, I know Jan and I are very happy to jump on with you and
Right.
go through stuff.
We've moderated several times, so we can help you out.
What's that? Moderation? Yes, Lisa. Oh, Jan said that. Yes, Lisa is awesome.
Lisa is awesome.
And she's on the call, so I know she hears us.
How can we connect with you? Because we have the phone numbers for Jeff and Charlene and Lisa, but like if y'all are willing to help us practice, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I will put my email in the.
Yeah, and I just went to one person instead of multiple people. Helps if my fingers are on the right keys when I'm doing this. Oh my gosh. Okay, there you go. So yeah, you can reach out to us that way. You can also text me. If you just call me, I probably won't answer if I don't know your number, but if you text me, I will know and tell me who you are. Then you can get a hold of me that way as well.
And there's mine as also.
And yeah, so the URL to the presentation will be during the week before the conference or before if we get them completed earlier. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, so again, you can go through these videos again and or get with us. And so we would be more than happy to help.
I do want to add, Lisa added that, and we do suggest connecting using the URL, not the platform, the direct link, in other words.
That's right.
Instead of going to Zoom and then, just click on that link and you're good to go. Right?
Yes.
I think yes,
yeah. And I think the other thing that was talked about yesterday that we didn't talk about today, it was the idea that when you're actually in the Attendify platform for the conference, there is, if you click one way, it actually just keeps you in the browser and pulls you into Zoom that way, but it doesn't give you all the functionality. But there's a way to say open Zoom client and you go through it that way. And that's the way we're suggesting. I know that we have someone from yesterday that's going to create a really quick video on that as well. And we'll send that out to make sure everyone sees that as well. So. And Lisa said, yes, she's gonna bombard y'all with emails up until the conference. So
I have a question.
Yes, okay. Michael.
When will the information on the hotel block be sent out? Yes, I'm joking.
Yes. You know, if you want to go find a hotel somewhere and stay just so you feel like you're at the conference.
Yeah, and who's going to be catering?
Right.
Kate is going to cater.
Oh, I see. All right, then you bring the coffee.
That reminds me. Will the meal for the keynote be gluten-free?
Yeah, all of our meals are gluten-free.
Okay, thanks.
One day we will all be back together again, right?
Yes.
And those questions will be relevant at that time. But yes, yeah, hopefully March of 2022 in Galveston. Yay. Okay, just have to say that's where I met my husband at a TxDLA conference in Galveston. Yes, 2004. A long time ago. Yes.
And her daughter's been to every face-to-face one since she was born.
Yes. And in my conference that I had was in Galveston. So Galveston's a very special place to me.
Yes.
Yes.
Galveston. His presentation must have been really good.
Hey, wait a second. Maybe mine was really good.
Either way.
Actually, we met during casino night. Just saying, we're gambling and met. Look at that. Okay, this is all being recorded. This is great. Well, again, thank y'all so much.
Yes, thank you.
And we will get these recordings out to you as soon as they're done. And y'all have an amazing rest of your day.
Yes. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
You.